Hey everyone, welcome to the garden that is Send Us Flowers, where we only curate the absolute best vibes. And helping me do that today is Shonitria, the founder of Blunt Blowin Mama and the Blunt Blowin Mama podcast. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I just had to, I had to take a hit.
Because that was your first rip today, right?
This is my first rip of the day.
Yeah.
And that was a really good one. Oh, this is so tasty.
Which one did you try?
I tried this one, which is the Soul Spirit.
Okay.
Really good.
Amazing. Yeah.
Ooh, terpy.
Okay, so she asked for a bong, which I mean, near and dear to my heart, because I love just ripping a bong and having a great conversation with someone. I mean, all other methods are absolutely fine too. We have joints here. If you want to dab, we have the opportunity to do so. But, you know, I definitely prefer bong over pretty much anything. And I wanted to bring a ton of different flour because I truly think bongs are just a great way to taste.
I agree.
Flour.
Yeah.
Especially because we have hemp wick.
Oh my gosh, and I lit it without it.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm so naughty.
I'm sure you'll be lighting it again.
I'm about to light it right now. But thank you so much for having me and, you know, chatting with me on your podcast. As you said, I'm Shonitria, and I'm the creator of Blunt Blowin Mama, and it is a community of, it's a cannabis lifestyle platform that I created in December. Why did I like that? And I'm going to talk to you at this.
That's okay.
I was like, actually, that's not going to work out. But yeah, I created it in December 2017, and I did it because I noticed that there was a lot of attention at the moment around like marijuana moms or pot moms, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, so people are starting to understand that this is like a lifestyle that people, like women and parents, are living.
Yeah.
But then I noticed that all of those moms were white, and I was like, okay, that's not true. Like, all these moms are not white. Like, what the fuck? So, and then I was like, well, maybe like somebody's gonna like notice or like do something. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe that somebody has to be you.
Yeah.
So I started Blunt Blowin Mama, and then adult use of cannabis legalized in January 2018. And then shit just like took off. And in 2019, I started the Blunt Blowin Mama podcast, like literally like 4 months after I gave birth to my son. Like,
wow.
So I always say that my son and my podcast are my two babies, like that I birthed at once.
Yeah.
Because and I'm like a psycho. Like, who the fuck after you're like, you just had a baby and you're like, I'm going to start a podcast.
I'm going to actually give myself another project.
Another project because like I love projects. So I started that and you know, still going strong with everything. Blunt Blowin Mama has been featured in Forbes, and it has been featured in LA Times and Blavity and The Cut and like a billion places that those are Leafly, which I was really proud of, and High Times. I actually got like a little feature in the magazine that I have framed.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's been really cool to like grow the community, but also to like get recognition, especially as a Black woman in this space.
Right.
And, so I'm really excited to be here and chat more with you and
get
into it and smoke hella weed, because I really just come on weed podcasts to smoke weed.
I feel that. Yeah. I mean, we have a ton to smoke. Okay, so today, a few things I do want to talk about.
Okay.
Of course, you know, more about Blunt Blowin Mama, what that's been like, you know, where you're at now, some exciting things you might have coming up. I know you just had like a little gathering, so I want to hear a little bit about that. And then I do have some questions from Instagram, which I think is super cool. So, you know, if you ever want to engage or ask questions or topic suggestions, I'm always doing it before interviews or podcast recordings on Instagram, or I'm working to it almost every time, like we were saying. But I also want to talk about, you know, building a podcast and staying consistent and coming back and what it is like building your own project, because there's so many different people out there who do want to be solopreneurs and they do want to do it as a mom, you know, even beyond cannabis. And so I think that it would be really cool to discuss, you know, just your mindset around that, because I really loved what you were talking about earlier. And then, of course, I want to know what's in your bag. You always have like really cool stuff you're smoking on, and I want to know all about what you're using. I'm sure everyone else wants to know. And we'll also probably talk about some other random things as we usually do on this podcast because we love a weed tangent. So I also brought a ton of different flour, like I mentioned. I've got some of this dragon fruit from THC Design. I've got some house weed that was left by a friend. I've got some sun-grown weed that is like high in terps.
Let me tell you, that shit's got me like...
It's nice, right?
It's really good.
Yes. Okay, there's so many people who like are about sun-grown, but I really do like that.
That's flavorful.
And then I've got this, I call them the Grape Boys. I don't think they're called the Grape Boys, but they make really good weed. And it's usually grape-centric. And so, yeah, I wanted to just bring a variety. Oh, and then we have Black Star Farms, which I love their weed. Mm-hmm. I had this like grape cream strain from them, I think, or grape pie. I don't know. It was another grape thing, but I was obsessed. It was one of my favorites.
They had a strain called was it Black Star? Yeah. They had a strain called Alien Superstar after the Beyonce album.
Okay.
And I smoked that shit. It was a sativa. That shit was so buzzy and good. Really? Like I really did feel like an alien superstar when I smoked that shit. And I was like getting shit done. And I was like, please don't ever stop making this strain. I love this strain. Like I fucking love that shit. I feel like every time I went live, I smoked it because it kept me like super engaged with with everybody on the live.
Yes.
So I love smoking like a good sativa or hybrid when I do lives, because you do have to have like high energy and like, keep going. But then and if I get too high on a sativa, like at worst, like I'm like a coffee junkie. I look like a little like I'm on caffeine, and I'm like, yeah, let's talk about this. Let's talk about blah, blah, blah. And they're like, shut the fuck up, bitch. It's been like 45 minutes on live.
So funny. Strain consistency is so hard. Like when you find a strain that you like, it's kind of like a limited drop though, and then it's gone. It's gone. Will you ever get it back? And if you do, is it truly...
It never is.
...the same?
It never is. Like for instance... I mean, I don't even want to talk about the strains I fell in love with and I'll never see again. And I'm just like, just give me the seeds. Just give me the seeds and let me grow it myself. And I
do myself.
Heavens knows I'm not going to do that. But I just want the option. Like, fuck. Like, forever you're going. Like, it's like the worst kind of breakups is when weed breaks up with you. Like, when you can't find your strain anymore. Like, now that is ghosting. That's real.
It's the kind of heartbreak that's uncurable.
There's nothing.
You're constantly chasing
that same little feeling.
Yes.
That same little smell. Mm-hmm. Same little nug look.
Because scent memory is also so strong. Mm-hmm. And so once you do start really smelling different types of weed, knowing is what
really
you
good.
like.
I'm going to take a note of that one. Yes. I want that one. I like that one.
It's really nice. It has really good, So it has a really good terpene breakdown. Like it has pinene, myrcene, limonene, terpinolene, caryophyllene, and ocimene. And ocimene is one that I always look for. And I know they're like smaller percentages of the terpenes, but I always really
look for myrcene. I love myrcene.
Myrcene, interesting. Okay, sorry. So before we get too deep into flower talk, I want to know who you're sending flowers to.
Myself. I'm sending flowers to myself.
Yes. That is some self-care. Period. I don't think any guest has sent flowers to themselves.
They should.
That might be my favorite flowers, to be honest. I'm a Taurus, so I'm all about
the energy. Like
I'm like, fuck yeah. Send them to yourself.
It's all because of me. It's all for me. Like if it weren't for me, geez, like where would I be if I didn't love myself so much?
Yeah.
If I was looking for it from other people, I would be so lost. Like, so I always thank me because like at the end of me and my ancestors, who basically they're me, right? Yeah. So it's like, it's me.
I was about to ask, what was your mom like? Or your dad? Like, who was the big dick energy in your family?
My mom.
Grandma? Was that? Yeah, okay, your mom. Yeah. Okay.
She still is.
Yeah, got it.
So you know how like every family, you have like that one aunt or uncle that everybody knows you can't mess with. Like, there's that one aunt and uncle you can play with and like fucking like probably like drink some beer with, low key.
Yeah.
And then there's that one aunt and uncle that you can't even like say hell around. Because they'll like...
For sure.
They're going to be like... And they'll call you by like your full government name every time. He's
like, Elizabeth.
Like, yeah, and you're like, who the fuck? Nobody fucking
you
do this. And so it's that aunt and uncle. That's the one you avoid when you're kind of please don't sit me next to her at Thanksgiving. Like, but like, so my mom is that aunt in the family, but she's my mom.
Amazing.
So I always tell people like my house was so dry growing up, like because my stepdad's Muslim, he's Nigerian, and my mom is this Christian Baptist Southern Belle born in Mississippi.
Okay.
Grew up on a farm, like very conservative, like low key. She doesn't know, but she's a Republican. But she claims Democrat. She's like, I am a Democrat. And like, I'm like, girl, value skewing Republican, but we're going to let you run with that. But I love her. Bless her. Because my mom.
That's one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
She's like the hardest working woman I know. Like she would work a 12-hour shift, come home, cook dinner.
Yeah.
And then fucking like clean the whole house, do laundry. Like we had a dog, but you never saw pet hair anywhere in the fucking house. It's weird. The lady's a clean freak. There were always lines in the carpet.
Yeah.
Like, so she had an incredible work ethic, but she was also incredibly outspoken. Like, she was very protective of her family. She was fierce, like a lot of ego in her younger age. And she's definitely mellowed out as she's gotten older. And I love her more now because she still has that energy, but it's like, she's healed herself a lot. So like she's not that toxic, but like anyways, I could go on and on. But anyways, that's how I grew up. Like there was no alcohol, there was no weed. There was like
Well, so when did you start incorporating weed into your life?
I smoked weed the first time, like, after I moved out of my parents' house because there's no fucking way. Like, like, my parents didn't smoke, but they knew what it smelled like. You know, like, everybody fucking knows what it smells like. Even if you don't smoke, you know what weed smells like. So if your kid comes in the house and usually she's smelling like Victoria's Secret, Body Splash.
A little bit of Love Spell.
You know, a little bit of Love Spell, you know. Love me a little Love Spell.
Wow, throwback.
Yeah, and like, you know, throw that shit on, but she doesn't smell like that. She's smelling a little bit like reefer. Like,
yeah,
we got
yeah.
So,
oh my gosh.
I was in college, I believe. But I was 18 years old, and my best friend at the time, she had got into smoking weed.
Got it.
She attended more like a party school at University of West Georgia, and I was at Georgia State University. And she started smoking weed, and like kids there do like drugs, like they do like all the drugs because they're in the middle of bumblefuck country, Georgia. No, like being, and so like
I have a lot of family in Georgia.
Yeah. Oh really? So like, you know the vibe. So like there's party schools, like UGA is a party school.
I was about to say, how was one more of a party school than the other? Because I feel like every school in Georgia is automatically a party school.
There's definitely different versions of party schools there, but we're not going to get into the breakdown of the colleges in Georgia.
For sure.
But like, because my school's, it's in the city of Atlanta, so it's definitely a party school too. But like, the kids weren't like drug partying. Like West Georgia kids are like doing drugs, and also smoking weed. So she started smoking weed, and she was like, "Girl, I discovered this new thing," and I'm like, "What?
This new thing?
Yeah,
like it's like a new nail polish.
Like it just came out. Like this is like the newest NSYNC album or whatever." So she's like, "You know, I just started smoking weed," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, let's go for it." And so she's like, I actually, when I hear how other people started smoking weed, I kind of feel bad for them because like they got initiated into it bad. Like I've heard people like say like somebody been like, you know, let's smoke this blunt, and then they'll pass them another blunt. And I'm like, you smoked 2 blunts your first time? And they'll just be like smacked and have horrible experiences or like throw up or get really paranoid or like, so I've heard those, but like she was so, and I think this is something that only a woman could do. Or like, you know, a femme is to have that care and nurture mentality of like, she got the pipe, she packed the bowl, she like held it up to my mouth, and she's like, okay, now I'm gonna hold this and you're gonna inhale when I like, and like all those things. And I was just like, she's like, this is a carb cap, like this is that, and like teaching me everything like I was a fucking baby. So, and then she did everything the first few times for me, and afterwards she was like, okay, you got it, like you can do it yourself. And then I'm like, it's so much like, which one do I do first?
Yeah.
And like, but having to learn that way and being kind of initiated into it, it was like, I always just think about that. And I'm like, and so when I meet people and it's their first time smoking, I try to take that much care too, because I know that I'm making an imprint on their fucking memory right now. I need it to be the best imprint possible so that they can know that this plant is safe and they can come back to it, you know? And you just need to learn some things first.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What a magical experience. That was nice. Not even remotely mine.
No.
But like
you're like, it didn't happen that way over here.
I'm like, can't relate, but that sounds really magical. It's like
nice.
It's like the Disney princess version of like
and it's not real because like unfortunately most people don't give a fuck.
No.
Or they're just like they don't. I think that people aren't educated enough about it to know that like your first time you need to be like handled with care.
Exactly. And so after you started incorporating it into your life more, I'm curious, did your parents have to know at this point? Yeah. So what was that like, bridging that situation?
It was a long process. Yo. I actually talk about this on the podcast. Like, I waited years before I told them.
Wow.
Like, I had to tell them it was like in the middle of the pandemic. And I want to say it was like 2020 or 2021. I told them. So that's like only a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And
what a time to pick to do that.
Yeah.
You're like, it's the end of the world.
I'm like, wow.
You might as well know what's up.
Fuck it. Well, my thought was like, if I fucking die today, like, I don't want my parents to find out from other people who I really am.
Yeah.
Like, I should be able to show all sides of me to them. And eventually they accept and understand that. And I also had made a certain amount of money at that point that I felt like I had a case. Because with my parents, I always had to state a case.
Oh.
Even as a grown-ass woman with children. Yes. You're always still their kid. You never grow up. I was
doing PowerPoints as a kid. Like, girl, we did like presentations.
I had to present my case every time.
Wow. I totally feel that.
Like,
I just have like core memory flashback.
It's like kind of fucked because it's like, as a kid, I shouldn't have to be this manipulative.
Who else was? No, but so many people's parents were like this.
Yeah.
Like, who else's parents were like this?
Yeah.
I mean, or are like this.
Yeah, still are. And so like, now when I'm parenting my kids, I'm like, yeah, I understand like boundaries need to be enforced because you can't just be out here reckless, like getting in people's space and like not understanding what boundaries are and consent and all of that shit. But at the same time, like, give me room to fail. Like, let me be okay with failure and not be like, because then as you grow up, I realized, oh, this is why I have fucking anxiety. And this is why I think everything has to be perfect. Yes. Because I was scared to make a B in school.
For sure. And
so, yeah.
you are so much of your whole self. Like, you put everything out there pretty much.
Yeah, almost.
Kind and of. you're like, well, there's some secret stuff.
Yeah.
But, you do put a lot out there and you're very open. And I feel like that, breaks down a barrier. And when you have that kind of openness, I feel like there's this energy that people kind of vibrate to. And so maybe that's what worked for your parents. But I also do totally hear you on the finance thing. Because when I started working in weed and was like, hey, like, this is actually not that illegal, what I'm doing personally, and I'm making like legal money on it. And
that I have to pay taxes on.
Yeah. Like,
I pay taxes on that shit. No, we're not going to talk about that because California is literally the worst place to work. We're not going to talk about that tax thing. Fun. Probably be paying taxes here forever.
It's like, I don't want to talk about it. I paid so much in taxes last year. I already prepaid for this year. And I paid so much money. And I'm talking like this because I don't want it to be like real to me. I don't want it to be real. It's like so fucked up how much I pay in taxes and how many pop. Like, my tire is gonna pop. It is. And who's gonna pay for that? Me. But like, like, why is no one fixing that?
I will say so that basic. Like, I've found a way. I I just don't get that much money. I don't want to talk about it like this, but like I just don't get that much money back in state taxes where I've lived in other states and I paid taxes and I've gotten significantly more money back. And it's just because
California's hard.
But you know what? At least I see my tax dollars at work. Because I saw some little things put in the road recently, and I was like, "Oh, that's really good." So at least I know, like, y'all fixing shit like infrastructure because I pay for that.
It's also legal here. Yeah, sorry, tangential, but yeah, I think that the financial component definitely like persuades people, and it makes them see it as
a business
and something,
which it is,
and something legitimate. And so when you were pregnant, what was that decision process of smoking during your pregnancy?
So my first pregnancy, I was pregnant, it was we'll go back in time. It was 2014 and 2015. I gave birth to my daughter, and I was living in New York at the time. Weed obviously was not legal there. So it was kind of like, I was like, I'm pregnant. I can't smoke weed. I can't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
I just gotta fucking go without for 9 months and while breastfeeding. And that's exactly what I did. And I lost my fucking mind. Like, I almost lost my fucking mind, yo. Because can you imagine going like 2 years without weed? No, right? Like, am I in a coma? Right?
I did try to think about it.
Like, maybe I'm in a coma.
You guys saw.
Then that's why I didn't do it. But like,
wow. And so were there other things that you did, like supplements?
No,
or
like I just deprived myself of it, and I was literally miserable. Like, I was a horrible person. Like, I just had no control over my emotions. I called it vampire emotions. I would be like very, very happy, or I would be very sad, like weeping, like sad, or I'd be like Hulk, angry, and I couldn't control it because of like the hormones. So then I was like, I'm gonna smoke this one now. So then I was just like thinking back on it, I was like, you poor girl, like you really just needed to like smoke some weed or eat an edible and you would have been okay, because it was okay. But I didn't do that, and I really didn't enjoy that pregnancy. My daughter is amazing and beautiful, but after that experience, I was like, I don't think I can do this again. Like, I know I'm not gonna do this shit again. But then like when I started smoking weed again, I was like, wait, but like I'm never like this agitated or like annoyed or sad or like easily angry when I'm smoking weed. And I was like, wait, maybe it's because I wasn't smoking weed. And then like I started like looking up like, moms who smoke weed, and I start seeing all these white women smoking weed. And I'm like, oh, that's nice, but it's not just white women. But we're gonna push past that. We're gonna push past that because I see the messages. So I'm on Instagram, and I'm like, okay, let me see who's like an influencer in this space. And I see a whole bunch of white women. I'm like, okay, we're going to push past that too. And so I'm looking, and I see like a couple of like brown faces, and I saw like the mommy Jane at the time. And I was like, oh, wow, like she's really doing this. Like, this is really cool. And who else? There was another mom. Anyways, so I saw them and I was like, okay, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Was the Stoner Mommy. I think that's her Instagram handle.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, they're really fucking cool. Like, I think that I can do this. And then eventually, like, I started Blunt Blowin Mama. And I started Blunt Blowin Mama before I became pregnant with my son. So at that point, I had been doing Blunt Blowin Mama for like a year. I had spoken to like dozens of moms who were like, I smoked weed during pregnancy and my kid is fine. Like, I smoked weed while breastfeeding and my kid is good. This kid is a genius. This kid skipped a grade. XYZ. I did this. And I'm just like, wait. All of these people are saying the same thing. They don't even know each other. They're in different parts of the world, different parts of the country. And it's the same. And I'm just like, why? How is that? Like, somebody's lying here. So then I go back to the studies and I start reading them, and most of them are saying that, like, if you smoke weed while you're pregnant, your baby could have a low birth weight. Your baby could not hit developmental milestones. Your baby might have like behavioral issues, like all of these things that are scary.
Yeah.
Right. But then if you look deeper into these studies, you'll realize they're not just looking at cannabis alone.
Really?
Most of the times they're also looking at alcohol use and cigarette use.
Yeah.
Along with cannabis use. So if we're looking at cigarettes and we're looking at possibly alcohol along with cannabis, who's to say that it was the cannabis that caused the low birth weight?
Yeah.
Right? But that's what they're saying. But they're not saying that there are other factors that were at play as well. They also don't say how often were they consuming cannabis? What kind of cannabis? Were they smoking it? Were they eating it? How frequently? So there's a lot of holes in most of the studies out there. And the best one I always like to point people to is a Jamaica study. And basically it's by Melanie Dreyer. And basically, she studied these women in Jamaica, and they were consuming cannabis during pregnancy, and they were like, it was like a Rastafari village, like community, and the women were consuming cannabis, and she followed these kids like from like when they were born to when they got older, and she found that they were all intelligent, they were all born just fine, and like the community like supports the women and it's like a true like village community mentality. And that's the only study out there on it. And then aside from that, you just have all this anecdotal evidence of things like what I say and other women have said on the Blunt Blowin Mama podcast, sharing their stories about their kids being just fine and them having great pregnancies because of weed.
Yeah.
So doing all that, I realized like, well, I got pregnant. I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm tested. Am I going to smoke weed? And I had like a weekend of depression while I was pregnant with my son. And it was so bad. I couldn't get out of bed. At this time, my daughter was like a toddler. So like I wanted to engage with her, but I could not. I felt fucking horrible.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, because depression kicks your ass. And I was like,
debilitating.
It's debilitating. And then it feels even worse when you have a little kid there and you're just like, fuck,
then
I can't.
You have guilt.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I'm pregnant on top. I'm like, oh my God.
Awesome.
Come on. I'm really like fucking it up right now.
So you're on top of the world.
Yeah. Like, God damn it. Like, then it makes the depression worse. Right. So, so then I'm just like, you know what? Actually, the only thing I know that can help me with this is weed. And I'm blunt blowing mama. Like, why the fuck am I not? Like, but it's different when it's you.
Right.
And you're a baby. Right. So, what did I do? I said, fuck it. Like, I found some weed that I had stashed because we had just moved into a new place. And I was just like, I'm going to smoke this joint. I'm going to smoke half this joint. And I know I'm going to feel better. And kind of in a like sense of like getting permission and like also like letting my partner know I'm smoking weed. I went to him and I was like, it was just like the middle of the night. I like woke up because I could not sleep.
Right.
And I'm like, I woke him up and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go smoke this joint. Do you want to come join me?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, no, I'm good. Enjoy. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. I'll be back.
Yeah.
And I went and like, I was kind of visibly pregnant. I was still my first trimester, but with my second kid, like, and when you have your second kid, you just show faster. So like, I was kind of nervous that like my neighbors would see me smoking like pregnant, but I also was just like, cause I stepped outside to do it. But also it's like, it's the middle of the night and who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
I'm grown. Like I pay my rent.
Yeah.
So I smoked like a few puffs, like half the joint, and instantly I felt better.
Wow.
Like instantly, like everything was lifted and I felt like more present in my body, and I kicked away that whatever that sad, depressed feeling was. And I was like, this is what it is. This is what it's for. Like, because I need to be present right now and enjoy this moment because like, who knows if I get to do this again?
Yeah.
Like, I should be present for it. This is a moment in your life. Like, not everybody gets to do this. Not everybody wants to do this. I mean, I feel you on that. But if you really did want to do this and you've been thinking about it a good chunk of your life and now it's here, you should be present for every single moment. And this plant allowed me to do that for that pregnancy. And so grateful for it because now my son is 4 and he's fucking brilliant. Like, he's a mess, man. The shit he says sometimes, I'm like, bro, why are you so smart? Like, why are you so smart? He's really amazing human being and so emotionally intelligent. And just like, he's going to be like somebody so amazing in this world when he grows up. And I'm just so happy to get to like watch him become and just guide him on that. It's been amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And Weeda's been there every step. Like when he was a baby, I would put little drop of CBN tincture, CBN CBD tincture in his milk at night. He would drink that and go to sleep.
Yeah.
It helped with like teething when he was teething.
Yeah.
Like my kids get like CBD bath bombs in the bath when they're taking bubble baths. They fucking love it because it turns the water blue and pink and shit like that. And also like their bodies are so chill when they get out of the bath. And I'm like, I wish my mom would have gave me a CBD bath bomb when I was a kid, you know, and I rub their bodies down with CBD after baths. And if they get a boo-boo or mosquito bite, we have a CBD balm that we put on that. And like, my sister gave me a waffle maker with the weed leaf on it. So we eat waffles with the weed leaf on it. I have a faux weed plant in the living room. Like it's embedded in our life and the kids know about Blunt Blowin Mama and it's normal to them.
Yeah. What is it like to receive, you know, have you ever received any backlash, especially from people in your life, maybe that like kids, other kids' parents or people online? How do you handle that?
Well, you know, it's not. That never works together for me. Smoking weed and talking. I was like, who thought that you should have a podcast, you dry mouth bitch?
Everyone can take a water break.
We'll be right back. Bro, my mouth gets so dry.
I feel you.
It's wild.
I've had to literally walk away from people at parties to like go get water because I physically like can't talk anymore because of how dry my mouth and throat is.
Oh yeah, she's wet now. I'm so good.
That was amazing.
Great timing. So I just like that's a pat on my back. Okay. So your question was about the haters. How do I respond to haters?
Yeah, how do you respond to haters?
Well, usually, I mean, it happens rarely. And then if it's internet haters, like that shit rolls off my back because like I don't even like you're not even real. You could literally be a bot. Like, I don't know. Like, you're not. So that shit never. Oops. Sorry.
It's okay.
That shit never bothers me because I just feel like internet shit's not real. What does bother me are like friends and family, maybe if they're not supportive, but they're all really supportive. And that feels really good to have their support because that energizes me. Or they are just like, they're not like, they see that it makes me money. They see the numbers. They literally see the numbers. And it's like, and then you see like the magazine features and I'm showing you tangible things. So they're like, we understand. Like they see my vision and where I want to go. And they know that like I'm on my way. And so with that, it's like, if you don't support that, you kind of look like a hater. You know what I'm saying? And my family fucking loves me. My friends love me. So like, they're gonna support and they see like I'm well accomplished. Like, and I've been smoking weed since I was 18. And I'm fucking killing it.
Do you think there's more secret mom stoners out there than
absolutely, there's so many. There's so many. Like, as a matter, I think you said like, what do my kids' friends' parents think? So there's one kid that we like went over to the parents' house and they're like, what is it that you do? And at that time I wasn't working a full-time job. I was working Blunt Blowin Mama full-time. So I was like, I'm a podcast host. And they were like, oh, like what's the podcast? And I was like, it's called Blunt Blowin Mama. And they were like, oh, I was like, yeah, look it up. Like, and told them what it's about. And they were like, yeah, we don't really smoke weed. We do like here and there, but that's really cool. So they understand. But I also think it's California, and the California parent is not like the rest of America.
Probably, a little
so I'm like, they were like, oh yeah,
a little
really
different.
Cool. Like, I went to Amsterdam once and it was great. And I'm like, like super like yuppie white parents. And I'm just like, yeah, of course you went to Amsterdam once and you puffed the magic dragon and now look at you, you're so fucking cool.
Yeah. Okay, I do have some questions from Instagram.
Let's go.
And I also wanted to see what was in your bag.
Oh.
Okay. So I hate something. You are GVTS. Why is it that wine moms get more praise than weed moms? Pro weed moms for sure. Yeah, how do you feel about that comparison? I'm curious.
There was like this one trend that was going on like TikTok and Instagram where there was like this sound and this like trend where they would have the glass of wine. It's like this giant glass of wine and they would like throw it on themselves or something like that. And I'm like, we could never fucking have a trending fucking mom takes a giant fucking bong rip and fucking whites out the camera. Like that would be fucking hot as shit,
Yeah.
But it could never go viral like those fucking wine ones. I've
seen those giant wine glass things too. Yeah.
Could never.
No.
But for some reason that's okay. So I'm recently actually on HuffPost. Jordan Cloud, and that's Jordon Cloud. She wrote a post about that, about like why is it more acceptable for moms to smoke weed than for like parents who don't. I mean, why is it more acceptable for parents to drink wine and wine culture than it is for them to smoke weed and be stoners, right? Like, what is up with that? Like, why is there that? Why is it okay for me to be drinking alcohol at noon and be drunk by 5 instead of smoking some fucking weed, waking and baking and like being okay and not getting DUIs and like, being a danger. But at the same time, I'm conflicted because I fucking love wine. Like, I've considered like being a sommelier. Like, there's a point in my life where I really want to get like the certifications and know more about wine. I fucking love red wine. Like, and I've been to Napa Valley a couple times. I've been to Santa Barbara. I fucking love vineyards. Like, I love wine tastings. I love getting drunk at a wine tasting and vaping in between. I like to do both. So this is my problem. So like, I'm like, I understand that wine shit, because I think that's kind of funny, but I also understand that like if they can do it, then why can't we do it? Because I understand the weed shit too, and I think there's space for both. I don't think it's either or. I think it's moderation for both. Like you can enjoy wine without getting sloshed. You can enjoy weed without being like, zoned out or whatever and still functional. Like there's room for both as long as you're consuming responsibly. So I would definitely say check out that Jordan Cloud article.
Okay.
I would say like listen to the podcast. I talk about that a lot. Also follow the Mommy Jane on Instagram. She talks about a lot how she had an alcohol problem and how there's alcoholism in her family. So she still battles with that, but that she's turned to plants. Like she's turned to cannabis. She's turned to mushrooms.
Yeah.
Like she's doing natural medicine. Doing that changed her life. And she's in better health now. She lost a lot of weight. Yeah. She's feeling good about herself. She's showing up better as a mom. So like you have to find what works for you. I love
following her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Such a cool person.
I hate that Instagram is always fucking with her page and shadow banning her.
I mean, it's just it is the life.
Yeah.
That is. Yeah.
But you keep going.
But I'm like, I
keep going.
It so sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. Smoke Bud T asked, what's your take on partaking in front of kids? Not a parent, but always ask my friends with kids.
don't smoke in front of the kids. Like, I think secondhand smoke is a real danger to like children. And so like you should definitely be mindful of where you're consuming. For some parents, it feels better to just go outside. Some parents have, you know, set up couches and have like a smoke room in their garage. For some parents, you know, it's like we have a patio that you go on or something. For us, it's like we're never in the same room as them. So like if you see me smoking in my bedroom on Instagram Live, like I'm in my bedroom, my kids are like on the other side of the apartment, they're in their room, like my door is shut, I'm smoking out of the window. So it's like just making sure you're being mindful that you do live with other people, you know? So like being a good roommate to an extent, but like getting an air purifier is really good. That helps to keep your, like you should have one anyways, because like there's a lot of,
need to get one.
there's a lot of like mold and particles that are in the air. And especially we live in LA, girl.
And there's a lot of dust.
There's a lot of dust. It's dirty
I totally
here.
Feel you.
So like but especially if you're smoking inside, like definitely just like your smoke particles in the air, that's gonna get that out. So get yourself an air purifier. Ventilate, have your windows open. And like just be mindful, light some candles. I'm a candle lighter, I'm a diffuser kind of girl. So like there's always vibes. But just be mindful.
Okay. And then that's a perfect segue. Megan Warden asked, is one form factor safer than the other if you consume while pregnant?
Yeah, there are safer methods, and like I would say, like I wouldn't call them like safer per se. I would call them like the most harm reductive methods.
Yeah,
so like
that makes sense.
You know, you're not going to be hitting a bong like me, good sis, while you're pregnant, right?
Sure,
like that's not like you just don't even. And then you know what? Every pregnancy and first of all, every pregnancy and every individual is different. I want to start there, because like my first pregnancy, actually, I don't talk about this a lot, but the smell of weed made me want to throw up. Like the smell of alcohol made me want to throw up. And imagine like being in New York and like going through like Alphabet City and shit, or Lower East Side, where it only smells like fucking alcohol because of all the bars, and I wanted to throw up. So like I don't know what that aversion was, but that was only during that pregnancy. My pregnancy with my son, like none of that bothered me. So it's really weird. It was I don't know what the vibe was.
And it was not the vibe.
It was not the vibe. Then it was the vibe. And I was like, oh shit, like fuck that vibe. I don't want that vibe anymore. But like, so every pregnancy is different. Every person is different. That's for starters. And then also like, you know, nothing that I'm saying here is like medical advice. Definitely always seek this type of advice from a medical professional or someone that you trust and that you feel, you know, will give you advice and not judge you. I am not a medical expert. I'm only speaking from the opinion of like someone who's spoken to like hundreds of moms. I've spoken to dozens and dozens of experts on this. So I have gathered a lot of knowledge, and also from my own personal experience. But like, I would always say that like, look, you know best.
Yeah.
You're a mom, you know best. Follow your gut instinct. And like, I don't think you can ever go wrong. Like if you don't want to harm baby, you're not. But you also have to think from the standpoint of like, where are we living? If you're living in a state where you can't access a lot of safe cannabis, like then maybe it's like finding a trusted CBD brand and ordering that and only using CBD during your pregnancy. And I would say that if you are in an immediate pain, if you are in a medical or like emotional mental health crisis, and you know that like the quickest thing that'll calm that anxiety attack or like that depressive spell is like inhaling, because we all know that like edibles take like what, 1 hour, 45 minutes, sometimes 3 hours, depending on your body type, you know, how long it takes for you to digest and it to break down in your system. You can't wait 3 hours. You can't wait 1 hour. A tincture takes like what, 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes max to kick in. So you're kind of only left with inhaling, which is immediate. You're not going to dab because you're pregnant, sorry. But like inhaling. And so like if all you have access to is, you know, some hemp paper or a hemp wrap or like whatever that may be, then just inhale and be mindful of that and be well, you know, like you have to do what you have to do and nobody can judge you for that. But you would want to stay away from like blunts, right? You would want to stay away from bongs and dabs. So be mindful. But I always say, like, if you can afford it and you're having a baby, so maybe you can get a dry herb vaporizer. Like there are a lot of good ones out there. So you're still able to inhale the whole flower, but like you're not you're not hitting like a blunt or a joint. So like, and it's just like the healthiest way, even if you're not pregnant, to inhale the plant anyways. And honestly, you do get a lot of good terps when you use the dry herb vaporizer, and it like is very discreet. It doesn't smell as much. And you're still like, it's not like the oils, like the carts, like it's still the whole flower. You're just like putting in a little oven and it's heating up and you're like smoking that vapor. So you're I always tell pregnant people to like just get a dry herb vaporizer. It's the cleanest and safest way to inhale.
I love dry herb vaporizers.
Same. I love them. They're really great.
Taste really good. Okay, so I'm curious.
And also tinctures and teas.
Okay. Well, so what else is in your bag?
So like in my literal bag or like
what's in your literal bag? You have any stoner gear in there?
I probably do. You know what?
It's like a fanny pack, like super stoner bag.
It is. I do have some things. I have like, I always got shit. So I have my hot knife.
Oh yes.
This is like a must. If you like dabbing, get yourself a Puffco hot knife. If you don't have this, I feel so sorry for you.
I talk about the hot knife all the time.
I'm like always singing its praises. It's like, it doesn't change my life.
It saves your product. Like it
changes
the game. The experience is so much better.
It's cleaner.
It's
just like
incomparable.
It's like, how did they know to do this? So I have that always.
Brilliant.
And it's my baby. Love it. I gotta clean it though. But and then I also have, this needs to get cleaned too, but a joint holder.
Oh, it's so cute.
And it has like a little bee on it.
Wow, I love that.
Because beehive, Beyonce.
That's so pretty.
And this is by a small business owner. She's based in Atlanta. She's a mom. She's a Black woman. She's a mom. She has like a whole bunch of really cool ass joint holders like this one. And they're all super unique. And like, I think they'll like, if you pull this out at a session, you throw like your joint in it, people are going to be like, what is that?
What's that?
So that's, if you're like that girl who likes to be like the showstopper or whatever, or you like to have like the nails, and you got to have this to go with the nails with the joint. So like, I love this. This is always my vibe. And people always are like, what is that?
Yeah. It's
Check
really
it out.
pretty.
JTT Accessories is the name of the brand.
Cool.
So, I have that, and what else do I have? I think that's all the weed things. Like the rest is just like hair shit and sunglasses.
Perfect.
Those are like I was like, what do I absolutely need to take? I was like, if we're dabbing, I need my hot knife.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna smoke a joint, I'll need like my little joint holder to chill them.
And I brought the bongs.
Yeah. And I was like, I know she's gonna have the bongs.
Perfect.
So this is what I need. I'm walking around with a hot knife, like, just in case.
Yeah, just in case. No, it really is that necessary, though. I do the same thing. And then I lose them all the time, especially in these couches.
Oh, my gosh.
And then I find them. I have 2 now on rotation because I lose them so often.
Yeah, dude.
It's really kind of embarrassing.
Well, whenever I finish, I just try to, like, put it back inside. I just keep the box it came in.
Yeah.
And I put it in there because the box is big, but the thing is small.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'll spot that fucking box, but this that shit looks like a pin.
No, exactly.
You're absolutely gonna lose it.
Yeah. Okay. So before we go,
okay, I'm just gonna. I want to finish this bowl because I'm on a mission to smoke all of these. So I smoked that one and that one.
Do you have a favorite?
And let me finish this bowl first, and then I'll get back on this one. But that one was really a star. So it's kind of like after smoking that one, I'm feeling like I'm going down.
That's so funny. I agree.
That one's a star.
I like this one a lot, and then I also do like the dragon fruit. I feel like this one's kind of older, I'm not gonna lie. So I feel like if it was fresher, like if I threw like a little Bovita or whatever in there, it would kind of like perk up a little bit. But this this is a good jar though.
I love the jar. You should definitely keep it.
It's actually.
Where did you buy this one?
The Woods.
The Woods? Oh,
yeah.
You bought it at the Woods?
The Woods has a great
A
dispensary.
great selection, man.
Like, their dispensary is crazy.
I love it.
It's wild.
I can't speak enough of, like, good things about it. I mean, there's some bad things for sure, but it's a good
place.
No,
but I'm going to be really specific. Their dispensary is so good. Like, the selection is
even
wild.
The edible selection is
no, it's
I
crazy.
was like, is that like a fucking
They have
pantry.
everything.
It's everything.
Everything. And then Natasha and Sarah told me about Goat Global. And I went there, and that's where I got like kind of like, you know, like this kind of stuff. And that's really good too. So I think that's actually where everything is from here. And THC Design, I think this was from one of their parties or something.
You know what? I'm not mad at the THC Design. I know what you're saying, that it's not as fresh, and if it were, it would pop more. But this one is like Little Miss Sunshine right now. Okay, I'm going for the grape.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna double up on this THC Design because I think that's gonna be yummy. Okay, so for Blunt Blowin Mama Universe, so what's happening here is that I'm smoking weed. And there's a lot of really cool things happening. So I just recently hosted the Shrooms workshop with Michaela, who is Mama de la Miko on Instagram, and she teaches about mushrooms. And so we were having a conversation about shrooms and using them for your wellness and health, especially in motherhood and womanhood. And she actually shared this amazing like recipe for making like a paste with the mushrooms.
Okay.
That you can basically dose by the tablespoon and like just sit it in your mouth and then swallow it and like and like dose at your own leisurement because it's like this honey paste. But anyways, so really exciting. So the Shrooms workshop, we had that recently. And coming up, I am working on a Canna Mom roundtable, and if I can get it pulled together in time, it will be released in the month of May as part of like a Mother's Day series and more exciting episodes. Always new episodes of the podcast every Thursday, anywhere that podcasts are streamed. You can just look up Blunt Blowin Mama. Also follow me on Instagram at Blunt Blowin Mama. I have a YouTube now, and I'm not promoting it the way that I should, but I'm working on it. But I'm uploading all of the podcast episodes there, so you can also check those out. I have workshops for all of the subjects that like you might be curious about. If you're curious about pregnancy, breastfeeding, talking to your kids about cannabis, or sex and cannabis, I have workshops on all of those topics. Just go to bluntblowinmama.com/workshops and check that out. And I think that's all the things. I have some really cool features coming up later on in the year. Yay. And I also have a day job as a journalist, and I'm working on some really cool pieces about women and moms breastfeeding and using cannabis. And I want to like dive more into that kind of coverage because you don't see that many like stories about like Black and brown people using cannabis in a positive light, or women using cannabis in a positive light, or especially moms. So like I want to like help expand that. And so I'm just trying to like, I'm at a space now where I'm melding everything together that I do and realizing there doesn't have to be a separation, that like, and that cannabis coverage can really exist everywhere and should, because we have to normalize this plant. It deserves that, and like we owe it to it. I
totally agree. Wow. Okay. So I have to have you back on because there's like a million other things I want to talk to you about, especially like, because I know you were talking about like fibroids recently and so many other things. So, but wow, this was like the most epic conversation. And thank you so much for sharing all of this and about, you know, what other moms can do or potential moms and building this community. So yeah, I have to have you back on if you so accept. But
I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to.
This was amazing. But thank you all for being here, and thank you so much for coming on Send Us Flowers. I'm sending you all the flowers.
Thank you so much. Keep it up, keep going, keep growing.
Yeah, you are such an inspiration. This like episode, what'd you say, 171?
178 coming up on.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Amazing. No, I want to know more about, you know, like building the podcast and like how you've managed to be consistent. I have so many other things I want to talk to you about.
Yeah, we can talk about
incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay, and thank you all for watching another episode of Send Us Flowers, and I'm sending you all flowers. And I think this will be out around Mother's Day. So if it is, happy Mother's Day.
Woo-hoo,
and
go mama, go mama, go.
And happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you.
And all the flowers, real life flowers too. Yeah, send all your moms flowers and schedule it like now, because then you'll be like, oh, it's all sold out.
Just send me
like,
weed.
Yeah, get the right flowers. All right. Oh, wait, we do have to know, what is the ultimate favorite?
I'm going to be rocking with that one.
The Soul Spirit Farms.
Yep.
Okay. You heard it here. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.